Hello friends and welcome. You guys are the real ones. You saw an hour-long video on Guardian Teamfight Analysis and you were like, yes, that is for me, click. You are here, thank you. I don't expect there to be too many of you guys, but for you all, the real ones, the kings and the queens out there, we are going to go do some in-depth analysis here so you guys can learn as much as you want. And I'll go ahead and shout out here, if you like this kind of stuff, let me know. But also, if you tune into like the Wednesday streams where we do replay analysis, that's where you can find similar content like this. It covers more of the game than just team fights, but this type of more in-depth analysis with no cares about the YouTube algorithm, stuff like that. So let's get into this. If you want to do this for your own games or maybe some of your friends, stuff like that, here's kind of my process. So for team fights, you can look for other stuff. Like, for example, you want to focus on laning, then take a look at the 10-minute net worth, see if like, oh, that's not how it's supposed to go. Then you go look at the lane. But for team fights, look for any of these peaks typically. So the Radiant here, I believe the person who submitted this game, the Radiant, they were winning. It looks like 15k at like maybe 23 minutes. That's pretty good. Sudden spike down. Now that's not typically from a change in farming efficiency. So there's probably some big team fight losses here or pickoffs or loss of objectives, something like that. And then sometimes you can look for like the return back here, but you see how this is like a slow climb again. This is usually like, okay, we stopped throwing team fights. Now we're like maybe sometimes getting pickoffs. We're like farming efficiently, and that's like the slower peak back up. And then when you see like a sudden shift again, like what changed that dynamic? That the team that is this far ahead did not just keep going this way? Because sometimes you do see that the graph just keeps going this way until the game's over, right? Then there's probably no significant major mistake that changed the throw. But anytime there's a big switch like this, yeah, there's something big happened there. So that's usually where I just jump to. So back in the game, 22 minutes, 14k looks like. So definitely looks good. I think the throw is probably in the next minute or so. So let's just play through it and take a look at what's going on. It looks like there's one tier 2 tower left. We definitely look to be winning on the side of the Radiant. So I see something going on here. Just real quick, though, by the way, I think this is a Lion mid game. Yeah, it's Lion mid. It looks like Wind Ranger carry, maybe. I'm not going to worry about the builds too much. Maybe we should, but more like the overarching team fight stuff, I think we should worry about. And if like major items are close to being finished, we'll think about that versus like the exact build, because I mean, we could always nitpick like an endless amount of stuff in every video, but I do want to try to keep it more on the team fighting. So Roshan is up. This seems like a big mistake from the Radiant to not be going for this right here. Kunkka working on the tier 2 tower. I like this in pub games. Play it safe, I would say, rather than, you know, maybe we could force high ground. We could throw. Maybe that's what we're going to see, right? So just clear out the tier 2s tends to be pretty safe. Tormentor is still up. This is another like 1,400 gold you could get for the team. Farm backwards, take Roshan. So that seems like a good way to go about this for me. And then I would say all you have to do with Aegis is walk up to these towers, X mark Wind Ranger, who maybe you give her the Aegis, and then have her hit the tower. And you just repeat that for a while. It might be a little slow, but you'll get there, right? And there's very little punish to that because I doubt there is a Yules on any of these heroes. Yeah, there's no Yules, so there's no counter to the X mark play, which I believe the submitter of this game did suggest that, and it didn't quite happen, right? Which is, there's only so much you can do for that. But the high ground here, and part of the reason why I see this and I'm saying like, oh, we should be very careful about this. Keeper of the Light, not having the greatest game. We see he's level 10, but he, with level 4 Illuminate and a couple points in Blinding Light, he just deletes creep waves. And suddenly there are no creeps, and now a cask can bounce between only heroes, Maldic Stun, Anti-Mage shouldn't even be here, actually. Anti-Mage should be splitting out other lanes and then TP back into this fight. So a mistake on his part. I don't know what led to him being here right now, but he shouldn't even be here. Marcy, yeah, like this is kind of scary. She doesn't have BKB, but she could definitely kill some people under her own tower. BKB piercing stun, right? So we should be careful about this, and there's easier objectives to get in the meantime. So let's see. They're going to start on the Keeper here. Oh, he's certainly dying pretty fast, but looks like Wind Ranger might be dying faster. So quick check on the gold, guys. So, oh, I can't remove that. Okay, so, hold on. There we go. So, Lion, look at that. Oh, guys, we got that Keeper. That was 470 gold. Does that seem worth it? does this seem worth it for the keeper kill, right? There's no need to take risks when you're this far ahead, because if you make a mistake, if you get punished, the punish is so hard. That is the rubber band mechanic. So this was clearly not worth it whatsoever. And now our push is over. It looks like they're going to get another kill. Here's one online. Let's take a look at the midline kill. 1,400 gold there. Looks like Shadow Shaman might be next. What's Shadow Shaman? About 1,100. Grimstroke going to get away? Doesn't look like it. And then that is poor Grimstroke, the poorest on the team. That's okay. Someone's got to be poor, right? And even that is nearly 800 gold. Kunkka. Oh, God. Kunkka, please get out. Oh! That's scary, guys. So Kunkka gets out. We just went from 15k to 9k, when really this tier 2 would have been much safer. They probably could have even poked at the tier 3, but they went for a kill under the tower, which led to like everything we just talked about happening. So pretty big mistake in terms of just objective prioritization. Like if you go for the tier 2 is literally less dangerous than the tier 3. Like the tower is weaker, the high ground's weaker. This is just a safer objective. Even if you dive it the exact same way, it's much easier, it's much safer. Off that, maybe the Tormentor, depends how it's being defended or not. And then the Roche, much easier to fight Roche. There's no, like you're literally fighting Roche, but there's no enemy high ground advantage, no vision advantage for them, no tower helping them out. So much safer, get that Aegis, and then repeat what we did. Wind Ranger dies. Oh, I'm not dead. I got the Aegis. Respawn, right? And you go from there. And I just want to point out real quick, so if we look at that fight, the net worth breakdown from 20 minutes, which is a little bit earlier than we started, we see that the Radiant is really far ahead. And then off that fight, like watch Anti-Mage's net worth, who he's kind of keeping up, but he's definitely behind, right? By 30 minutes, he is the top net worth. He doubled his net worth from 20 to 30 minutes, which is insane, right? And we see it all starts at this fight here where it's like, okay, I'm 8k, I'm 8.5, like it's not that great. Oh, here's a jump in 1,000. Here's another jump in 1,000. Here's another jump in 1,000, right? Because he's getting those kills and then he's farming with all that space. They probably took some towers or something. We didn't watch that part. But like after that, it like slows down a little bit, right? Back to like farming some kills. It's a totally different game from this 20-minute to 30 minutes. So that like one fight massively changed what this game could be. So jumping ahead to the next drop in the net worth graph, we see that we did get Aegis on the Radiant Heroes this time, but notice the net worth difference. Last time it was 15,000 at like 22 minutes. Now it's only 10,000 with Aegis. So imagine not throwing here. Imagine going for a Roche, getting that tier 2, all that, like whatever the order, I don't even care. But like instead of now pushing at 35 minutes with a 10k lead, we're probably pushing at like 27 minutes with a 20k plus lead. And that's very different. 20k at 20 minutes is very different from 20k at 30 minutes, is very different from 20k at 40 minutes, just because of the way this game scales. And at some point, like even, like let's say the core, like Marcy is down here, right? She's poor compared to the other cores. But at some point, you pick up enough items on a hero that you kill people given the chance. It's just hard to have the chance because like maybe you don't have as many defensive items, you don't have those like blink initiating items, whatever, right? But you technically have the damage, which this poor Marcy, I would say, does. So if you give her the opportunity to just whack, 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 whack you in the face, right? She will kill you. She'll gain like 1,000 plus gold, and it's different, right? That's the difference of the 40 minutes, oh, I'm way richer than her, but she is still enough to kill me, versus that 20 minutes, I'm way richer than her, and she has a single item. She can't kill me, right? Even given the chance. And so those initial throws do make a big difference. So let's get into this. Still a very tough high ground push with the Keeper Light for like everything we said, right? Anti-Mage shouldn't even show here. He should split push, rat things out, Witch Doctor, Cask, Maledict, the Blast Out, all this. The high ground push is very difficult for the Radiant. I would say if they have a pipe, which I don't think they do because they have like a weird composition of heroes, and offlane Kunkka is going like for extra damage. I think he was offlane, I don't know. We just kind of jumped ahead and it's unranked, so I don't see the stuff. But if we had a pipe, we could maybe pipe a creep wave so that the blast doesn't immediately kill it. We poke with that and we back off. We repeat with pipe cooldown. We can do the X mark play we talked about earlier, but we do have Shadow Shaman ult, which is pretty good. Maybe it was a mid Shadow Shaman. I have no idea, guys. I have no idea. But he has Refresher, so if we want to pipe or fortify a creep wave to keep it alive from the initial blast, drop double ult, just like full commit, right? Throw everything. The double ult will kill the tower really quickly. If they try to fight into us, we have 2 Shadow Shaman ults going. That's where we pop Torrent Storm. We pop like everything else. We fight right here. We don't commit too hard. Like, we don't even necessarily care about winning the fight. We're just letting the Serpent Wards do the work. And if they fight, we kind of fight. And you either let the Serpent Wards help you win the fight, or you just let the Serpent Wards rat while you drag on the fight because they're trying to kill you, which means they're not dealing with the Serpent Wards. And then you just back off. Like, depending how it goes, maybe you win the fight, then yeah, win the game, right? If it's not going great, oh, we got the tier 3. Just chill like 2-3 minutes, hold the map, because that's what 10K lets you do. You hold the map, farm up, then you come here, you repeat, and eventually you do it. Like, it's just slow versus heroes that can like blast out creep waves, but it's just what has to happen. It's sometimes not fun, but it is what it is. Let's switch to just Radiant perspective. Let me slow down here a little bit. Let's actually give a little bit more time before we watch this. Ooh, yeah, they're doing Roche. So let's watch the minimap here, because it looks like they're pushing with Kunkka pretty low, and he probably should have just X-marked himself, TP'd home. So it looks like they're doing Roche. So far, Vision's not great. This is a pretty big mistake. Look, like Wind Ranger's all the way up here while her team's doing Roche. Now, fortunately, she does get the Marcy kill, but this is a pretty big risk that she doesn't need to take because her team is ahead and is taking Roche. If she had died here, if she doesn't get the Marcy kill, and instead they react in time, they kill her, because they actually don't have the best vision from what I saw, right? Maybe one hero flashed mid, but the other heroes wasn't fully clear where they were. It just turns out like Witch Doctor's back here and stuff. But if she had died, I mean, we saw earlier, right? She got 766 gold for killing Marcy. Cool. She probably would have given away like 1,500 gold for dying herself, and her team can't push because she's dead for, what is it, 85 seconds, right? So then this Aegis, you've already wasted like a third of the time on Aegis because you died on a pickoff while your team, a solo pickoff with enemy heroes missing while your team was doing Roche. So this is a pretty bad play from Wind Ranger, even though it worked out. I know now it looks like, oh, awesome, we got the kill, it's easy to push. Technically true. But the risk reward, all of that, like not really worth it for Wind Ranger to go for this kind of thing. So now let's speed up. So this is where Anti-Mage, you see him jungling, do not be jungling. If his team has the vision, so actually let's switch to his vision, because I don't really care. We're not like rooting for a team, right? We're just gonna talk through this with you guys. So if his team has vision in this area and he can see what they're doing, he should be pushing out the lane ASAP, because he needs to punish this, right? With Marcy being dead, they just took Aegis. The Radiant, are going to come down here and try to take this tower, or they're not, or they're resetting, right? And so that's why you can't just blindly rush in and start killing all this stuff, but you kind of need to be ready for it. So Anti-Mage, I feel he should be working towards a lane, either this lane or this lane, to start pushing it out, to try to bait someone from the Radiant to feel like, oh, I need to go defend the tier 2. Oh, I need to defend the tier 1. You absolutely should not, but you might bait them into doing it, and then you can TP home and try to take the fight from other people still up here. If he's just jungling back here, it kind of makes sense if he's scared. Like, oh, maybe they're resetting and they're going to like come through the twin gate and kill me up here. In that case, you know, if he's really scared about that, he should probably just be waiting in the trees rather than like jungling. But, you know, using his blink, you know, without knowing where they are. Now he sees where they are, so this should give him the confidence to like, I need to be moving my way to the lane. See how he's farming backwards? This is really bad. Like, as you see the heroes here, you kind of know, like, this is what the Radiant's doing. They're trying to punish the fact that Marcy's dead. So he should be taking these towers and then TP back. Right now, whether he's here to here, 3-second teleport. Here to here, 3-second teleport, right? It's all the same to him, but what it forces from the enemy is totally different. What's the Radiant even care? Oh no, he got the hard camp. Oh, we lost our tier 1 tower. That's gonna make it harder for like a second Roche fight in the future game. Oh, he's taking our tier 2. Oh my god, he's taking our tier 3 tower because Coddle keeps blasting out creep waves and like we gotta TP back, we gotta go home, right? You're gonna force them to do things. So pretty bad on him to farm backwards once he gets some information from them. Let's go back to the Radiant side. So, no vision on this, like I said, really tough. Where's the Keeper Blast? Okay, poorly timed Keeper Blast. He's like not know the timing on the creeps, but all right, we're just diving in here. I think this is what Grimstroke mentioned. Kunkka X-marked himself to like poke a little bit, and then everyone else blinked in. Now, by virtue of being super rich, we're seeing the fights kind of working out. But it was also pretty messy. I mean, this sort of worked. If Anti-Mage had TP'd here sooner, it may not have worked. And if he had been ratting, like, maybe there's a cost for this. Like, notice this tower is not dead at all. So if Anti-Mage had been ratting and he's like at the tier 3 now, then suddenly it's like, oh, we killed heroes, but we lost our own buildings. So that's like one of his options that he didn't take. And then if he had been here sooner, because he is the top net worth, right? As they're focused on other stuff, he probably could have been cleaning up. It should be good here. Primal Beast should buy back, I think. Oh, we're going in for the one-on-one. Wind Ranger doesn't have the Aegis. Big Mana Void. Kunkka's about to die. Grimstroke's dead. If Anti-Mage had just been here while his team was alive, guys, that would have been so different. Whatever. See, so, I mean, you can kind of see Anti-Mage is clearly rich enough to have made a massive difference in that team fight. But also, the Radiant just gave themselves a terrible team fight by jumping in here when it was totally unnecessary, right? We talked about earlier. How do they do this? How do they approach it? You just X the Wind Ranger, have a runner, have her run in, do this, and you just do it slowly. They didn't do it slowly. They just were thinking about kills. Why are you thinking about kills? We should be thinking about winning the game, and that doesn't need to have kills. If you want kills and you don't feel you can go high ground, just set up wards around the outside. Like, let's go back to Radiant Vision. You see how they have one deep ward here, one over here? That's pretty good. It actually spotted the Anti-Mage farming earlier. So they could have, instead of just pushing up here, they could have smoked, tried to kill the Anti-Mage, or they just wait. They have Aegis. They're ready to go at any moment. So they just heal up. They hold this like general area. They have wards, for example, one ward here, or a ward here, a ward like out here, a ward here, a ward in this jungle. Many people think it's like safe to jungle here, right? So you put a sneaky ward here, and you're just waiting to see the enemy eventually get bored. You're just trusting they're bored, right? They've been sitting here for like 5 minutes like, oh, I want to leave. I'm going to go out. And he walks out this way to go farm, and you see it, and your team who is jungling like back here, you all smoke and you run, and you kill the guy. Now you've got the kill you want, rather than forcing the kill to happen here, which didn't get fully hard punished right away, but did eventually get punished by this Anti-Mage here. So that's another pretty big throw from the Radiant. 50 minutes, it looks like there's now an 8k lead for the Dire. Yeah, we are now on the back foot on the Radiant for sure. I believe some buybacks were used. Yeah, Wind Ranger's buyback was used. So I think Roshan is a potential objective. Wind Ranger's up here. Notice we don't see anyone on the Dire side, and Coddle's here. It's at this point of the game where any death could be the end of the game. You need to be extremely careful. 68 kills, and this is like, whatever. Maybe it's giving them a false sense of security. I don't know. But at this point, if any of them die, especially the Wind Ranger, could be the end of the game. So we got to be extremely careful. So everyone just like watch the minimap right now. We see some Anti-Mage illusions. So we don't know exactly where he is, but we kind of know he's somewhere up here. We know Keeper's mid. If you wanted to try to gank Keeper, potentially could happen. We'd like to know a little bit more information, but I'm thinking about it because I know Anti-Mage is up here, Keeper's here, so they're at least split from each other, although he does potentially have... Oh, he doesn't have recall, actually. Never mind. 50 minutes. You don't have recall. Could have had recall to bring the Anti-Mage in. Anti-Mage could TP here, and blink in. So, like, that's why I kind of want to know a little bit more in case there's 3 more heroes here. I think you do see the real Anti-Mage up here who spotted the Wind Ranger and just almost kills her. So Kunkka's going to try to TP in right away. So kind of bold on Anti-Mage to just do this because it looks like none of his team immediately joined either. Otherwise, that could have been the Wind Ranger kill right off the bat. And in fact, he's getting a little bit low. Witch Doctor's here. Fortunately, he's got Blink again. So both teams taking a pretty messy engage, honestly. But Anti-Mage, just by being way richer, is coming out ahead. But he probably shouldn't have really jumped unless Primal Beast was closer and could have blinked. So let's actually like go back to that. Right, this fight's ending up messier than it really needed to be. But now with the benefit of full vision, so it looks like they knew Wind Ranger was in this area with the wards, but look, he's like over here, she's over here. So from the Dire side, this isn't good either. Technically, you have the numbers advantage versus this team. Line is dead, right? But you don't know where all their wards are. And we actually see the Dire is totally split up. There's literally one hero in every quadrant, right? You could not be more split up than the Dire is right now. And if the Radiant had better vision, because earlier we were saying like, okay, we know Keeper's here, we know Anti-Mage Illusion's here, so if we just know where any of the heroes are, if we had a ward here and we saw Primal Beast, I would be immediately go kill Primal Beast. If we saw Marcy back here, immediately kill Coddle or Marcy or Anti-Mage. I actually don't really care which one, but like any of them is really good. If you had a Warden here, you saw Witch Doctor. I actually wouldn't feel great about this one because like Keeper here, Witch Doctor here, Anti-Mage here, it's like kind of on the same half. And if the other two heroes are also here, could be the full 5. But when like Primal Beast is up here, for example, there's not really a close teleport to Primal Beast. So Outpost is the closest. It takes longer to go there. So this feels better, like the rotation potential, and like definitely seeing Marcy, there's like no real teleports, right? So seeing one of these two heroes would have been really nice. But this is actually a really bad jump from Anti-Mage as well, because if he dies, look, classic Anti-Mage, not saving buyback in a 50-minute game. If he dies, it could be the end of the game, because in, let's say, 100 seconds, he's dead, right? We don't even have, let's pretend all the lanes are pushed in. At this point of the game, cores can just kill creep waves instantly, pretty much. So in about 30 seconds, you kill Anti-Mage here, TP home, someone TP's home, 30 seconds, push across the map, Anti-Mage is still dead, 70 seconds, 60 seconds, you know, we'll give a little extra time. You got 60 seconds to push a tier 3 tower without the ultra farmed Anti-Mage, right? So super risky on his part to even go for this solo kill. And he's kind of lucky that Wind Ranger did not have more, because he also did not really have the vision, right? This is actually also really bad from the Dire side. Like, look at this, right? They're all split. He knows, from his perspective, he knows his team is nowhere near to help him out whatsoever, and he does not know where the enemy are. He knows where Wind Ranger is. This is a replay bug. There's like a Kunkka icon here. Ignore it. He's not here. But he doesn't know where anyone else is. They could be smoked behind Wind Ranger. They could be going for another hero. He should stay hidden. Instead, he like commits, right? And if this is where suddenly, boom, blink, hex, shackle, all that, like all gets thrown out right away before he pops the mana shield, because he actually came in and then popped it. But at this point, Shadow Shaman, does not have a BKB. Otherwise, I was going to say he could have just ignore it. I mean, it could have been him dying. That's like all we really need to get to, right? Like, instead of him barely getting away here because he has a blink, if we had our like 10 seconds of chain stun, which hadn't shown yet down here, this could be the Anti-Mage kill. It could be the Radiant winning the game. So here's a fight that is just kind of decided by random. You know, neither team had good information. Both teams took big risks. And as it turns out, the Dire win this one. But in a slightly different world with slightly different positionings, the Radiant wins this fight pretty handedly, and then they win the game. And that's kind of what I'm trying to help you guys avoid. Identifying this information, whether you're ahead or behind, so that you can, at least, like, if you guys play the Anti-Mage, you don't take these risks. And if you can communicate with the team to actually make plays, then great. No, it won't work every game, but this is the information we're looking for. All right, let's do a different game. This one's much shorter. We see that the Radiant pulled up a lead, like, it started pretty even. And then by nature of their heroes, and I took a quick look, the Dire just making a lot of different misplays. It gave the Radiant an advantage here. It looks good, but keep in mind the scale of the graph. So it's only about like 7k advantage here, which is good. It's not the end of the world though. And you see they then take like some throws before it then gets thrown back. So let's go take a look at it, starting with the Radiant taking Roche pretty early, 20 minutes. I'd say this is awesome because they have a Shadow Fiend. This is a carry Shadow Fiend. There's a Slardar who enables this Roshan super early. So this is a fantastic play by them. But let's use this moment to talk about the fact that as they come up, because they've actually taken all the towers, again, some misplays from the Dire side to allow this to happen. Is the high ground easy? There's a Sniper with Shrapnel. There's a Monkey King ultimate. There's a Sand King with the AoE, blink stuns, all this, right? You could get Hex shackled under. There's like the Razor AoE, clearing out creep waves. You could link someone really important. He's kind of the anti-carry, right? So even though Shadow Fiend is doing really well, if you manage to link the Shadow Fiend, you could take away a bunch of damage. So the actual, oh, this looks scary. The actual high ground is really difficult here. So what I would say is that the Radiant needs to find a kill before they feel too comfortable going up here. And I'd say like Sniper, Sand King, or Monkey King are all pretty solid kills that they could look for. In the meantime, let's go to just their vision. So they have this ward. This one's not too bad. So if they could get more vision somewhere close to see people leave this area or farming the closest camps, which could be the triangle, it could be this camp, it could be these camps, right? Those are the closest camps for a team that is stuck in their base to make their way over and farm. This game, there's a Monkey King. Some games have heroes that are they're much slipperier. Messing up words. They have a much better time getting out on the map and farming and split pushing stuff, and it's a tough time dealing with them. But you still kind of take the same approach. You just may need to change up your observers like further out. But for a lot of games that don't have those kind of sneaky heroes, just catching those camps I talked about or leaving the lanes like I talked about is good, because many people will not smoke out of the lane to go like sneak into a jungle, something like that, at least at Guardian. If they get a kill or two, then it becomes much easier to get the high ground. If they don't get kills, that's okay, because you're just going to like hold this Aegis. And imagine for 10-ish minutes, right? So like 5 minutes of Aegis time, then you kind of chill waiting for the next Roshan. You get the next Roshan. That's about 10 minutes. 10 minutes where they have like 90% map control. This 7K lead is going to go to like 20K. And then you will win with that next Aegis, because now we feel much stronger to just force this even without the kill. But right now, I don't feel good about that. So without knowing what's going to happen in this game, that's kind of my guess at what happens. They attempt high ground and get thrown. Sniper, ooh, get out, Sniper, run! Razor, don't commit too hard on this. Don't get killed. Okay, they're out. So let's actually just use Radiant Vision, because it looks like they're the ones that threw here. The other option, if they do want to poke, by the way, is just for Shadow Fiend to do it. Everyone sit behind Shadow Fiend, see if you can get a hook. You can either use it to save the Shadow Fiend, because they don't have any heroes that pull someone back in, like a Pudge themselves or a Venge Spirit. So you just sit like here with the Pudge, or you sit in these trees. You maybe get a hook out to kill and then make the siege much easier. Or Shadow Fiend gets jumped here and then you just hook him back. Either way. But everyone would just watch the Shadow Fiend, and there's no need to dive. Instead, they're going to go for the sniper kill right at the base. Now, that's kind of fine, because Sniper actually should have been, like, back here. Looks like he was pushing at the lane a little too long or something, so he gets caught out right here. I'm kind of open to that, but you do see, like, they're going to pay the price with Marcy. I bet, again, yeah, Marcy was worth a lot more than that Sniper at this point. Sand King is going in here. But look how much damage Shadow Fiend has taken in the meantime. There's the Aegis down. 3 heroes under the tier 3 tower. Just to point out, tier 3 tower providing 5 bonus armor, 3 extra HP regen. The tower doing like 170 damage per shot. It's like Sniper didn't even die, right? That's like what Sniper would have been doing. Gives Monkey King time to set up his ultimate. Doesn't get knocked out of it. Does anyone want to help me crowd control this Shadow Fiend? No? Okay. Right, all this is happening under the tier 3, totally unnecessary. Another hook misses, and it's okay, not every hook lands. I can't believe they only lost 5,000 gold for this. I guess because of the buybacks coming out. Or like they went from like 7,000 to 5,000. Or I guess they gained a little from Roche, but like still, I can't believe it. But you see, this was like totally unnecessary, right? That initial Sniper jump was cool. They could have just reset off of that and then push with the next creep wave. Instead, they dove further trying to get more kills, and then look how much tower damage it actually took, right? So it's very important to recognize, how do you convert a lead into a win? In this case, we had a lead. We took Roshan. Fantastic up to there. But it didn't recognize, right? They saw that all the tier 2s were gone, and they just thought, well, we have to go tier 3. That's it. Like, there's nothing else to do. We have Aegis. We must do the tier 3, but that's not true. You can just take a break, pause, farm up, find the kills. Like, the tier 3 is the next major objective, but you're not strong enough to get that. It's only 20 minutes in the game. There's only so rich you can be at this point, and the tier 3 tower is a static thing. Like, it always has these stats, which you can affect a little bit with, like, Destas and stuff, right? But, like, you will always take a certain amount of damage from this tower. It will always be a certain level of risk, a certain amount of time to kill the tower. And against certain heroes, like this, like, you might pay the price. Look how many Serpent Wards still survived, right? So, way overcommitment from the Radiant here. A minute ahead, looks like they got another kill. They're going to try again, this time without Aegis. And we know, guys, when you lose one fight, even if you threw a bit, like, oh, we dove way too hard, once you've lost a fight, a big chunk of your lead is gone. They don't know the exact numbers in the game, right? So once you lose a fight, it should tell you in your mind, it's possible for us to lose fights. Because sometimes you're so strong, you think like there's no way we can even lose a fight, right? Once you get hit back into reality, you have to recognize like we can lose fights. We still have to care. So they're pushing up. Slardar, half health, back here. Storm, like zipping in, already like onto a third mana. These guys kind of like they're fine, right? But we don't have Aegis this time, and we are pushing into an enemy base where they have all their stuff, and Sniper is about to respawn. So they do get a hook out. This is pretty good. This seems fine with me. Monkey King ults, so we should probably just back out here. Shadow Fiend taking an extra second to hit. Decides to channel his ult in the Monkey King ult instead of just getting out, right? Marcy could have disposed him. He could have just reacted sooner to leave once you see the Monkey King ult. They're feeling overconfident that just because they killed Shadow Shaman, they can still do this. Instead, both die right away because like all this stuff happens right here. Off of that fight, the Dire are now going to throw. So they're feeling good. They finally got a kills. They want to try to take some objectives. I'm cool with that. But this fortification, as these heroes are about to respawn, it's time to get out. Certain heroes are better at jumping you as you leave. This time, a Storm Spirit with Zip, Pudge Hook, Blink Slardar, right? There's several heroes that make it scary, so you can't wait for them to respawn and then start retreating. You need to start retreating. Like, this is literally the bare minimum last second you could start retreating, but it probably should have been a few seconds before on the Dire. You got the Fortify, that's it. You don't get to take everything you want just because you win one fight, right? So if they just retreated here, they're in a really good spot. They haven't lost, I mean, not really good, but like much better than where they felt before, right? They've lost all their tier 1s and tier 2s, but their tier 3s are all pretty healthy. They just won 2 fights in a row. They don't know the exact gold, but they should feel fairly good that we're back in this game off of being in the back foot. So they actually don't have to try to punish this hard. This is a totally different fight for the Dire. It's no longer in front of the enemy base with a high ground disadvantage. In fact, it's in front of their tower. So Pudge Hook onto Sniper, great target start. Makes Sniper just try to like back up a little bit, decides to fight. I don't know what that Marcy leap was. Now, because of that initial hook, they have the vision for the Storm. Slardar, what happened to your Blink, buddy? Just walking in. Okay, let's not worry about it. Shadow Fiend, like, eventually going to get here. This was 3 Dire heroes because Razor was not here. Shadow Shaman, dead earlier, right? I forget what. I think he just, like, respawned here, or maybe he just TP'd home. So he's not here. The Dire stuck around too long. Razor's over here jungling because he doesn't have his ultimate, right? So all of this tells us, like, we shouldn't have been up here this long. We should have left sooner. And then because of this, the Radiant wins this fight. Now Razor's coming in. Like, everyone's dead already. He should not be coming in. And off of that, I think this... Because this Shadow Fiend with this build, he does tons of damage to buildings if given the chance. If given the chance to hit heroes, right? Which is why I think they feel like, oh, we can totally take this, right? But it's not just the buildings. You need to deal with the enemy heroes, right? You always have to consider that. Do I have the items and the build to kill heroes? And can I kill towers? And can I kill towers and heroes? Because that's what the tier 3 siege is, at a massive disadvantage, okay? If you get the kills, you even the playing field for you, where now it's just like, can I kill towers? Yes, easy. Can I kill heroes, but I can't kill heroes and the tower? Then I have to wait for them to move out of the base a little bit, kill the heroes, and then I come up here, and then I'm not fighting both, I'm just fighting the tower, right? I am breaking apart the high ground siege. Instead of tower and heroes, it is heroes or towers, right? You have to make that situation happen. You can't just force yourself into it. So despite throwing 2 pretty big fights on the side of the Radiant, where they're like, oh, we have to do this, bro. We have to do this one, right? They threw pretty hard on it. See, they finally took it. They took a fight away from this tower and with some numbers advantage, right? Off of that, they can now push down here. Let's just speed it up, right? Once they get here, now he can start taking some buildings. Look, it's dead. They're respawning. I would just reset now. Let's see if he learned his lesson. Look at that. He's walking out of Monkey King ult. Fantastic. Oh my God, look at that Marcy go. Right, but this is a very different situation from earlier. Now, this is where they need to be careful defending when Sand King is so close to respawning. They probably should have just given up a tower, to be honest. Or maybe just try to delay it with Monkey King ult, but then Shadow Shaman shouldn't have gone in like that. Though I didn't think Marcy would, like, one-shot kill him either, I suppose. But from here, if the Dire just lost this barracks, they could keep playing the game without their team up. Like, especially the Sand King, but you also want the Shadow Shaman, and maybe you can bait the Shadow Shaman buyback. Like, he doesn't have it, but they don't know he doesn't have it, so they have to treat it with respect. If you just lose this barracks, you get to keep playing the game. You're probably 10k behind at that point, if not more. at 26, which does not feel good, but the game's not over. But if you lose any more kills, you're starting this cycle again, right? We're waiting for 5 heroes. We need 5 heroes to have our best shot at fighting, and we need like our ultimates, like Monkey Kingle. So we just need to waste time. Sniper just like shrapnel, clear out creep waves, but he does so from like way the hell back here. Do not get zipped on, do not get stunned, do not get hooked, right? This fight is so different from the earlier fights because the tier 3 tower's down, heroes are dead, ults are down. So they can't be up here. This is way too much. I see this all the time. You go from a losing trade where we might lose barracks to actually just losing the game because we tried to defend those. So you have to recognize when a mistake was made, you get punished. You can't, it's like way too greedy to think like, I can defend this till the end. I can hold this. Like, we can't lose barracks no matter what. You don't want to lose barracks, but when people are dead, when you overextended on an earlier fight, you get punished, you lose things. And if you just give those things up, you might get to keep playing. But instead, right, they're all coming in one by one. They never have the number advantage in their own base, where they have really good vision, they have good positioning, but they're constantly taking this like 2-on-4, 3-on-4, 1-on-4 fights. Then of course they lose one by one. And now, from waiting for Shadow Shop, I'm up guys, I'm here to defend, we have all our heroes. Uh-oh, no we don't, because first he died, and then he died, and then he died. Or I don't even know what the order was, but like they all took turns dying, right? But if you just gave this up, they start coming for this. Now, 5-on-5 in our base with the tower up. This is our best chance to fight here. And we've seen them throw twice, so there's a chance they will do it again. Maybe they'll be like coming on the tier 4s, coming to the tier, the fountain, right? But when we've lost the 3 heroes, now it's just over. Now the game is done. In this game, I want to show Radiant's got a pretty good lead, 10k here, top 3 net worths, great. Luna's actually below. I think this is a position 4 Hoodwink. Hoodwink's having a great time. See how they're pushing up here, though. Pudge is dead, but look at their vision. They don't really know where enemy heroes are. Look at this top lane. This top lane is pushing in. This is pretty far in, right? Many people would feel safe to do this, whether they should or not, you know, questionable. But in about 30 more seconds, less than that actually, I'd say like 20. If we look at the creeps here, right, there's 3 range creeps, 4 new melee creeps here into like 3 creeps, 1 range, right? This will push in soon. And if no one is dealing with it when it's hitting your tier 3 tower where it's definitely safe, right? Or I won't say definitely, but it's pretty safe. You should be dealing with that, right? That should mean they're doing something. So Bloodseeker coming up here, he's about to get really useful vision when this goes in. But Bloodseeker Luna pushing up here, pretty dangerous when you don't have that information yet. And you don't have the team behind you. Because if like Sand King, Hoodwink, Axe were here, then sure, we could force this. Because if they jump Bloodseeker, if they jump Luna, boom, everyone jumps in return. Axe, Sand King, Hoodwink, Sharpshooter, Bushwhack, all that stuff, right? But this is just a total bluff from their part. I'm not even going to check Radiant Vision. It doesn't even like fully matter. Lion blinks into the silence. So this actually goes a lot worse than it should. It kills himself on flame. Oh my god. That was supposed to be the Blink Hex stun, and it looks like the rest of the team was maybe ready. Lifestealer could have even been inside the line for like the prepared jump on the Bloodseeker, proper chain stun. Like Sand King's like, oh, I'm on my way, guys. Look how far he is, right? They're going to commit on this, but where are those other heroes? Spirit Breaker, global rotation. Turns out he was here to just pop the ult. I think he should have charge. Coming up here. Get him, Spirit Breaker. Get him. Get him. Once BKB's over, get him. Not even needed, guys. Just straight up dead. I'm going to get him. Blink Epi 1 into 3, right? This is pretty scary. Maybe you get some kills, maybe don't. Turns out he doesn't have enough damage on his own to get the kill. They have detection. Great work, guys. So they get another kill. So it could have just let Bloodseeker Luna die. Neither of them had to die. They could have just done the roast. That Axe is like trying to solo over here, I think. It's now gone over to the Radiant side. But yeah, with that 10k lead, it just didn't make sense to push this. Right? They should just be getting Roshan as a team. That was what Axe was trying to do. With that, you're now at 11k lead. Group up as 5 with the Aegis. Send Luna ahead. Just let Luna hit things. This game, it's tough because of the Pudge. So, but like when you're doing the tier 2, let's say you get hooked back. It's back here. It's back here. This is doable, especially if your team has pushed up. You set up vision here, right? it's easier to take a fight back here or like get hooked over here, because your team has pushed up on this side. Maybe you finished Tormentor earlier, I don't know, and you're like standing around here. This is much easier to do into the Pudge. So it's doable with the Aegis, and you take the other tier 2. Same thing, like fighting back here is much easier. When you push up to tier 3, you need a sizable advantage, because if Luna gets hooked back here, there's no setup over here for the team, right? How are they going to be back here when this tower is still up? They all have to funnel in through, which then sets up a lot of potential AoE, which they don't have the greatest heroes for, but in this case, it could be like Blink, Lion, Stun, charge through, hit a bunch of heroes while Lifestealers, Radiance burning everyone, Zeus is Arc Lightning everyone, right? So they have to be a lot more careful when pushing high ground than in certain games you might see, but maybe not, because actually Pudge is really popular. You probably see Pudge in quite a few of your games. So you always got to respect the Pudge hooks back here, and that's why you need to take the time to build the lead. You can't just be pushing up here willy-nilly. You got to go through the steps. Get the Aegis, go here, go here. Let's compare that to this play here. They have the vision set up. They never did take these towers, but this could have just been, like, now it's actually a pretty even game, but this could have just been the situation of we hold the map, we wait for the enemy to split up. It's essentially what's happening here, but after some throws. So they now have some vision, right? Spirit Breaker's here. We feel really good about the vision we have in that area. We now see Zeus, so we have good targets. Gonna go on the Spirit Breaker anyways, not great. Let's take a moment to break down the actual fight, because a lot of this I've been talking about has been like positioning and like choosing the right fights, which is a big deal in Guardian. The actual breakdown of the fight doesn't even matter that much when everyone's just choosing good or bad fights. But this one, you notice how Axe blink calls right away as soon as he got in range, but now nothing is happening because no one else is in range. So this was a good play in concept, but he jumped way too early. And if he waits for Luna to get to here, because actually, like, let's go back to it. I want you guys to see all of this. So first of all, the actual team like goes with the smoke. Like, he's moving, Hoodwink's back here, right? So no one's ready. If they had a smoke, it should be like back here. If they don't have a smoke, that's fine. But move together, not this like Congo line of a play here. So you don't see the exact thing he's farming, but Axe jumped from here to here blindly. But look at all this vision, right? And it's nighttime, so they don't have night vision. Luna, she's got the extra night vision. So Axe could just wait over here. Oh, what if they have wards? Well, don't walk in there until your whole team's ready, right? If you think they have wards, then you should all be grouping up and then going as a clump. If you're all coming in one by one, you just have to hope they don't have the ward and make the play. Axe has to wait in this area behind the trees. He's not spotted yet. He has to wait for Luna to get around here. And if this guy finishes farming and you see him start moving, if you see him start TPing, then you jump because it's necessary at that point. But you're not sure what he's farming. If they had the vision, then they know exactly. But there's a good chance, let me tell you guys, there's a good chance someone farming this camp goes to this camp if it's up. Or if not that camp, he goes to one of these if he's feeling like scared. If not, he's probably moving this way or into the lane or something like that. Now, Spirit Breaker might charge away. That is a problem. But most heroes do not have that kind of like consideration, you know? Even with Spirit Breaker, it's possible to blink call it. Like, you see the charge, you blink out of the charge range, you call, stuff like that. It's a little hard. It's doable. But this call, right, we're going to run at a chain stun. And now Spirit Breaker could charge away at this point, and people wouldn't be ready. In this case, Luna, actually, maybe she could cancel it with Lucent Beam. But now, this is currently like a 2-on-2. It should be a 4-on-1, insta-kill on the Spirit Breaker, and then straight move to Zeus. But depending on the matchups and like how the game's going, there's actually a world where Axe jumps way too soon and gets killed by whatever this second hero is. Because then for that brief moment, for that 1 or 2 seconds, it's a 2-on-1 fight. And Axe could be killed, and then the other 3 heroes come in. They get Spirit Breaker maybe, but Zeus sees like them coming in and he leaves, right? It ends up being a 1-on-1 trade with what should have been a 4-on-2 at best. So choosing when to go in matters a lot in terms of like the positioning of the fight. And in fact, when they saw the Zeus is probably the better target to get with the vision they have. So they could have just like angled around, like forget Spirit Breaker, go for Zeus, or wait for them to get close. Maybe we get both. Instead, they're getting the initiator, and so the backline damage dealer this whole time is just free doing the backline damage. Should he be here? Because he actually does not have good information, and like he knows his Lifestealer and Lion are here. he maybe like should not be here doing this, and he should just be leaving the Spirit Breaker. That's probably the correct play here. But let's say the teammates were nearby, then by choosing to jump the Spirit Breaker or other equivalents are like the Tide Hunters, the Centaurs, they want to initiate. They want to be at the front of the fight and let the backline do their job. So when you see the information, you see the frontline Spirit Breaker and the backline Zeus, and you jump the Spirit Breaker, how is that different than if you guys were here and Spirit Breaker and Zeus saw you guys and wanted to fight? So Spirit Breaker charged in and then Zeus did the damage from the back, right? It's the exact same fight they won. So this jump works because they're a little bit ahead. They kind of had more heroes here closer overall, and the heroes that were there, right? We could think about matches, but it's so different every game. So it does work out here. But I hope you guys can see, like, it makes sense to wait for everyone here to either get the 4-on-1 on the Spirit Breaker insta-kill, or, like, jump the Zeus to disrupt the way they want the fights to go. All of that stuff. This fight ends up being a little messier than it really needs to be. Pudge does rotate in here. See how Luna and Axe are super low, even though this has now gone from a 4-on-2 to a 5-on-3. Like, why can they get so low? Because it wasn't that numbers fight that instantly kills hero. We didn't jump the right damage dealer. We like slowly trickled in onto the wrong targets, and that gives them a chance to do as much damage in return as possible, which leads to Luna dying here. It could have been Axe dying as well, and in the end, they do get this Pudge, but it was very close to being a 5-on-3 fight. In the grand scheme of things, that was almost a 2-for-3 trade. And that doesn't really make any sense when you are in the lead. So this time they had the vision set up. They kind of had the net worth and levels, but their actual execution of the fight, they had the numbers as well, but the positioning of like when they chose to go in was not good. So if you guys play initiators, make sure, don't just look at your target. Look at the follow-up. Initiators do not have the damage to finish the job typically. It's why they're initiators. So you can't just look at the target and be like, I stunned this guy. Where's my team? What are they doing? You look at your team. You have to look at both. You have to see them. You have to see these guys and be like, wait, if I jump now, they can't follow up. They're not as fast as me. They don't have blink daggers. I got to wait for them to get closer, and then I blink jump the guy, and now all the stuff comes in at the same time. Here's another real quick example of when you just lose things, right? This is off the fight that we just saw. Fortunately, Luna died, and she's the best building taker, so that's great for them. But these heroes will still, like, at this point of the game, they'll damage the tower, especially if Bloodseeker was here instead of split pushing. But let's say he was here, right? You would get this. Lion does not know exactly how many heroes are here, but he saw them pushing the lane in, so he knows multiple heroes are here. Why is he trying to defend this 1v5, right? At best, he has to throw the ult and immediately blink out, but it is super risky. The reality here is that you simply lose this barracks. It sucks, but like you lose at least the tower. You maybe fortify once, you know, it falls, you fortify again. That's the reality of current Dota. Then these guys are up, and then you fight over these open barracks. But he is walking up here on his own. What you should be doing here, guys, is if you know they're pushing top and you see this guy splitting mid, you should be all rushing bottom and pushing this stuff in, unless you have super safe spells. Like Keeper the Light can stand back here and blast in this way. Jakiro can macro pyre right now and then back away. Heroes like that can do that and should be here. Venomancers like sit and set up all the plague wards and stuff, right? But heroes who cannot safely defend objectives at severe disadvantages, for example, 2 versus 4 into multiple blink initiators, then you just can't be here and you have to be somewhere else, baiting the enemy to like come defend their tier 2, right? You gotta be pushing this in. You gotta go set up vision elsewhere. You gotta be at least farming, right? You could farm this stuff so that you don't fall too far behind in net worth. Because currently, if he just sits back here because he goes, oh, it's too dangerous to walk up here. That's what Zach told me. Great step one, but you're just watching them accomplish things and you're not accomplishing anything. And if you have a teleport, you can do other things. You can be farming this other part of the map or wherever you have vision, wherever it's safe to do. And then when these guys get close to spawning, you teleport in. Because he's here, right? Oh, I'm gonna get this stun into insta-death, right? Lifestealer ends up TPing in. These guys should just back out for a moment here. The Fortify comes out, right? They're not going to accomplish anything. They should all just back out. Lifestealer just TP'd in here, so now you know where the last hero is. and you can go like join Bloodseeker finishing mid. If Roshan is up, I can't tell. Looks like it's a replay bug. I think they already had Roshan earlier. So it's still dead, but maybe the timer is close to spawning, so they could set up for that. They could just move to this other tier 2, like push out bottom, or they just simply wait out the fortify and then go with the next creep wave. But you see the next creep wave's here, so they have a few seconds. You don't really need to dive the lifestealer, which we got the numbers, yeah, but we don't know the buybacks, so if we're blindly committing on a lifestealer is going to be pretty hard to kill, and then they're willing to buy back to kill 3 of us, and then they get Roche and stuff like that, so it like starts to being worth it. There's not really a need to do it, but you see they are kind of sticking around, committing onto lifestealer. There is like a temporary break. They decide to push in again, but notice at this point, Spirit Breaker has respawned and Zeus is now about to be up. So this is where the positioning of the high ground, this is why it's dangerous, right? Because it's really quick for the enemies to reinforce their own base. So jumping at this point, it's technically a 3v1 right here. And if Bloodseeker came in 4-on-1, but you see Bloodseeker's like, no, not my tier 2 tower. Don't hit it. Not my, it could die at any moment. It could go from here to here so quickly, right? He TP's home. The enemy gets this vision. They know Bloodseeker can't be here. They know Luna's dead. Even if she respawned right now, she have boss? She TPing into here? I don't think so, right? So there's 3 heroes here at most. This is your carry lifestealer. This is a Spirit Breaker who is, he's got a lot of that crowd control. He's going to amp up the lifestealer as well. Zeus is respawning. These guys potentially have buybacks. So the fact that they decide to commit into this, pretty risky. Some misexecution that maybe could have worked. Right, like this stun into the rage doesn't really make sense. But you see how much extra damage Axe tanks from the tower, and now they just follow the cleanup because Zeus respawns. So they have the XP, they have the net worth, they technically had the numbers, but the numbers split themselves up across the map. They didn't have vision for this stuff. These heroes were respawning. You gotta pay attention to respawn time, guys. It's really important. And so now the Radiant has thrown away several kills. And this could be the Dire taking Roche if it was up. It could be them taking objectives. It could be them smoking up to now go find a Luna kill where you know you have the numbers. Like right now it's 4 versus 3. It looks like they might find the Hoodwink. Never mind, Hoodwink does get out. But now they know they have the numbers. A Lion is about to respawn, so you could get him, smoke up, go anywhere. Now it doesn't matter. In an earlier situation, like let's actually go to their vision. They have none. But fortunately, they see Bloodseeker at least. Earlier, we gave an example where it's like, oh, Bloodseeker's here, but he could have 4 heroes behind him. Oh, maybe this guy's here, but like the other 3 heroes could be in the middle, so I'm not sure. They're dead. I'll tell you where they are, guys. Their dead bodies are right here, and they're going to respawn back here. I don't care where you go in these kind of situations, right? When you can smoke up as 4 or 5, and you know if 4 of us go, the most heroes we could run into is 3, even with bad vision, even with like not the greatest positioning because we don't know where it is. You got to respect that a little bit, but like, you know, we have 4 heroes, 5 heroes versus their 3 at most, and I bet they're not all together. It's a pub game, right? They're probably scattered. So here's where you could just blindly run at Bloodseeker. Or if you think you caught a glimpse of Luna or something going to the Ancients, you just blindly smoke into the Ancients. You don't have the vision. You're just going to come here. You can set up your own vision afterwards, right? Get those deep ward downs. Fantastic. But you know, like, usually coming in like this blindly is dangerous. It's low ground to high ground. Enemies half of the base. All that stuff, right? Could be scary into like these AoE stuff. They're dead. Just go, right? New opportunities become available because different heroes are dead. Off that deep ward you set up, maybe it helps you then get like Roche, depending on the timer. You know, maybe it could be a nighttime Roche. So now you have some deep ward to help you out. In this case, I kind of like the idea. If we knew Roshan, okay, looks like Roshan timer is now working. Looks like it could spawn in a minute 14. They don't know. At this point, Roshan could be up. So running bottom, I don't care. Do they have vision here? Do they have all 3 heroes here? I don't care. We got 4 heroes alive. The 5th one's about to spawn. Just go, guys. Just run down here. Maybe kill the Bloodseeker. If he runs away, that's fine. Run in here. Do your D-warding. Set your wards up. Hold this part of the map. Wait for Roche. Take Roche. If they come fight in, you're totally set up. You've removed their wards. Hopefully, it's a little bit RNG based where they place it, where you place your sentries. But you at least have your ward set up so you see them coming in, right? You get the good setup so you know to jump, you know, the Luna, the Hoodwink in the back. You're not initiating on the Axe in the front so that everyone else can just do what they want, right? These are the kind of like overarching map position movement that I want you guys to be thinking about. I'll stop here. If you want more like this, drop by the Wednesday replay analysis streams. If you win the raffle, you can ask me, I just want to look at team fights. Here's my game. We can do that. You want to look at your laning stage? We can do that. You can watch other people get their game analyzed where we talk about this kind of stuff, right? Lots of learnings there, and not just for Guardian, for any rank. This video, I know we didn't talk as much about the specific positioning in fights and the vision and all that, but it's like, I think you see a lot of Guardian fights just come down to, did we choose a good place to fight? Did we just blindly push into the tier 3 when we shouldn't? Ooh, that was bad. Or like, ooh, did we funnel one by one into an area where we knew there was 4 heroes? Ooh, that's bad, right? Like, those are the overarching decisions that decide a lot of Guardian fights. And we don't even need to go as much into the matchup specific stuff. Oh, like you stood here instead of here. Oh, you put your ward here instead of here, right? Like, that stuff matters, but it's just not as important in Guardian when, like, the line comes to defend 1v3 into like 2 blink initiators that are pretty instant, right? It's just not quite there. So hopefully we'll get to cover that in the future as we reach to other ranks and talk a little bit more in detail about that. But for now, I hope this video, the last video, has started to help you guys identify when you should be trying to fight certain areas, or like that rough game plan of like, why are we trying to do this tough tier 3 push? Why don't we get Aegis? Why don't we just hold the map, right? I think if you can identify it, you will slowly push your teams a little bit to identify it, and it'll help your win rate overall. So thank you for watching, guys. Let me know any questions down below. I'll see you in a future video.